We're live. Hooray. How are you? We're sliding on it. I have the loveliest people in my life just came in and were like, hey, look what I have. So we are starting up. We got our Starbucks ready to go. Are we ready to talk about AI today? We're going to have so much fun. That totally put me in a great mood. So how are we today? What's happening? Tell me everything. Let me get your comments so I can see your comments when you arrive. And I'm Carolyn J. Carpenter. If you don't know me, one of the founders of Hollywood Gatekeepers. We do these live trainings every single week. Yes, we do. And we are here this week because of Cyber Monday. We have a Cyber Monday thing happening. It's very exciting. Slashing prices. We have a brand new course that we have that's about AI. And it was like, well, that's kind of cool. We don't always do Black Friday or Cyber Monday stuff, but because we had an AI course on Cyber Monday. This is too hard, couldn't resist. So I want to talk about AI in general. And I was considering the things that I wanted to talk about with you. If you have questions or comments, please let me know and I can answer them here. Kind of about anything. We're going to try to keep these short, but I'm here for you. So I'm going to talk about AI today in terms of being a reader, being a writer. And we created this course because you asked for it, basically. We have this Facebook group and our YouTube channel so that people can make comments, and we have an email list, and you're always welcome to email us at team@hollywoodgatekeepers.com with questions or whatever. And we create things based on what people are asking for. So many people were talking about AI and their fear of AI and how it will affect writing, that we did a live event where we dug into it for 2 days. And then that ended up going so well that I turned it into a course. And so now we have a course available that's about you and AI and for readers and writers. So if you don't know what a reader is and you're brand new to our world, a reader is someone who reads and analyzes screenplays. We read a screenplay and then we write kind of like a book report known as coverage. And in that coverage, we say what the screenplay is about, and then we say what works in that screenplay and what needs work in that screenplay. Pretty straight ahead, right? That's what we do here. We train people how to do that. I've done it for years. I've read over 11,000 screenplays. Like, this is our world. So as AI comes about, the world's going to change. And I firmly believe at this point, as I look around and study, and I'm an avid learner, I've taken a lot of courses about it. I'm always reading and always up on it. It's not necessarily AI that will steal your job. It's the person that understands AI that will steal your job, or there will always be a human component or a human connection. And that's what I want to talk about today is the basis of AI in terms of how it can help you. And then if you're really like, no, thank you, exit stage left, then what can you do instead? And so we're going to talk about that. And I think the easiest way to do it, honestly, is just to kind of show you our course, share my screen and kind of walk you through what the course is. And I'll just touch on the things that we cover in it. So you can, because those are the topics that I think are important. So as you look at those topics, you can start to decide for yourself, which is what we're all about here. We want you to create your own path. You can decide for yourself. Are you in? Are you out? What do you think about AI? And so that's what I thought I would do. Thanks for saying hello, peeps. So good to see you. So yeah, let's do it. Let's just dive on in, shall we? And then comments, questions are welcome. So I'm going to share my screen. Hold on. Share screen. Share screen. There we go. Easy peasy, right? Right? Where did y'all go? Okay, hang on. Make sure. There we go. Okay, now I can see you and what I'm doing. So I'm going to actually move this here. Hold on one sec. Let me get a little organized here so I can make sure I can see your questions as well as what I'm sharing with you. I use 2 monitors, so it gets a little bit hairy sometimes. All right, cool. Now we got it. So as you can see, this is inside of our course. Still here. Now we got it. Okay, now I can see your questions. Hi, Terry. Nice to see you. So this is what we had. This is how we are teaching. Let's see what happens if I kind of there. I'm trying to make it a little bigger for you so you can see it a little better. Move it over. Okay. Here we go. Okay, now we're ready to go. So we have a course that is about AI. Oh, sorry, I can't make it that because I need to be able to. Okay. Hold on. Okay, it has to be this big in order to see the schedule here. So these are the things that we teach inside of our Everything AI course. And so I wanted to just walk you through what topics that we hit, because these are the topics that I recommend that you explore if you are writing screenplays, wanting to be a reader already in our programs. We always get a kind of mix of everybody who just has, people have just discovered us, people that are in our programs, people that are already graduated and out there reading. We have a wide range of people in our groups. So regardless of where you are on your path, these are the things to consider as you continue, as you get started, or as you continue to build your client base and all of that. So we basically started with change, and we talked about change quite a bit. And so I go into it. This course is kind of made up of just, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Then we say, here's all the, now there's two of me. So yeah, I just kind of go through. I start out by saying, what is a reader, showing you what is a reader. For everyone that comes in my world, I always start with what is a reader, like I just did, but I go into much more detail whenever it's a course. So describing what a reader is, and then going into the changes that have happened. So Hollywood has a long history. So all of the changes that have happened, I mean, you can see I start with the 20s, kind of the birth of Hollywood, proper, so to speak, and go through the history of film and the history of change, so that you can see that the change of this is just the next change in a long line of changes. And I myself have been around long enough, not that long, but long enough that I have seen a lot of changes. And every time there's a big change in how things are run, independent films was a big one. There's always these different things that come about. Whenever there's a big change, everybody goes, oh no, I'm never going to have a job. It's never going to work. Bye bye. Everybody freaks out. And then things settle down and people find their way. And then they find, they start to work in this new world. Well, we are in, a much faster changing world right now. It's definitely increasing. And so, but it's just the same thing. And it's the same thing of like, just settling yourself. Always, always, everything we teach. I'm also a life coach. I got a life coach certification. I'm getting a second one right now, because I always want to come from a place of taking care of you first, so that you can take care of others, either by writing a screenplay or by analyzing and helping writers and producers with their screenplays. The more that you settle down and yourself, the better storyteller you will be. So that's why we start with you, and you settle down into yourself and you look at change and where are you? What do you feel about it? Because if you decide, if the change is freaking you out and you try to go do it and you don't believe in it, you're scared of it, but you're doing it anyway, that's just not a good combo, and it probably won't go well for you. So being able to kind of center yourself and be, okay, where am I in this whole world of topsy-turvy? Where do I want to be with it? So that you can make choices that then will propel you forward, as opposed to creating much chaos and obstacles. So the more that you can do that for yourself, the more people will want to work with you. You will be a pillar with everyone who works with you, because that is so contagious. People want that kind of energy, right? So that's why we kind of start the whole thing by, okay, let's everybody take a breath. Everything's going to be okay. And let's start with like, where are we at? Let's look at some change in how we survive. Let's look at change in our own lives and how we've survived. And I don't mean to be condescending. I can kind of hear that it could sound condescending to some people. I don't mean it like that at all. I like to play and, kind of mess around. And so sometimes some people take that as I'm being condescending. Totally, like, I'm with you. I got you. And I totally get it, right? I totally get the panic about it. I totally understand it. But I really feel like my job as your coach and your instructor is to give you as many tools as I can possibly think of on my own, muster, learn from others, and just provide it for you. So when we start from that place, then you can decide what you want to do with AI. And then within our course, and you can do this in the course, or you can just Google it and do it on your own, we dive into ChatGPT, which is the most common AI that's happening. Now, there are a lot of AI apps and platforms right now that are, screenplay buddies, helping you write screenplays. I haven't seen any yet that are specifically for coverage, although I know that people are using some. I know there's some out there. I just haven't explored them totally yet myself, but we do explore it with ChatGPT. You can do coverage with ChatGPT. So by understanding ChatGPT, it makes it so that you can start learning some AI, seeing how it works, and then you can make a more informed decision about, is this a path you want to go down? The idea of me presenting AI to you is to take out some of the fear and give you some empowerment so that you can make some choices. And you might choose like, yeah, no, not for me. That's totally fine. We'll talk about that in a moment if that's your choice. So we dive really deep in the course, and you can do this on your own, going into ChatGPT and teaching it how to reflect your voice, training it's all about what they call prompting or prompt crafting, and that, or prompt engineering. Those are kind of the terms that you'll hear for it. And this is the idea that when you are working with AI, it's kind of like garbage in, garbage out. If you just, it's not a search engine. Let me just back up a little bit, because this is a really, really important point. ChatGPT is not Google. It is not a search engine. It is not going out into the world and finding all your answers like Google does. It is a database, basically. Think of it as a big filing cabinet, and it's only has whatever someone put in the filing cabinet. So when you say, find me this, it goes through and it looks for the thing that you've asked for. Well, that filing cabinet that it's looking through is made up of a bunch of people that just put stuff in there. So it might be like, oh yeah, here you go, here's the answer, but this came from so-and-so down the street that's not in the film industry. So it might not be, legit. So it's not full of like, it's not full of always true information. It's a bit of a fibber sometimes. So you can't trust the information that it gives you as being, this is the truth. But what it does do is it teaches you, and you can work together with how you can prompt yourself, how you can ask better questions, which is always good, I think, in life and in writing coverages, right? So you can start asking better questions of yourself, of ChatGPT. And so the whole idea is learning how to prompt it. You write little questions in. And so let me just see if I have a little visual. So let's dive in, shall we? So spoke to each other, So this is just me like showing you. Maria did enter it. So here it is. So see down here, there's a little send a message. So you type a question in there, and you can type, and we did a lot of different things that I'll tell you about. You can type anything in there and it will respond. So the key to using this tool is just a tool. Remember when, Final Draft came out, or maybe you don't, but remember when you first started using Final Draft? Nobody said, oh my gosh, this isn't real. You didn't actually write this. You used a thing to write it. Final Draft is just a tool to help you format. So you're not like tab, 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 tab. It puts it in the right format for you when you write a screenplay. This is a different kind of tool like that, where it can take what you're putting in and it can give you back things that will help you be inspired. It's, from what I've seen so far, it needs a lot of input. It needs a lot of your help. And so and then it'll give you something, and then you can ask it a question, and you can say, oh, please do this again, and give it more instruction. So really the key is being able to give it prompts. So your job is not gone. Your job has shifted into a different mode. And actually, if you are someone who loves kind of creativity, which you probably are if you're in here, and you like kind of coming up with the questions, but the idea of sitting down and writing everything, this is a great tool for you. You can combine these skills. And so it can be really exciting and really fun. And we had a great time. And the group, and when we did this live event, they just came up with stuff. And I was just like being the conduit of showing how to kind of not be afraid of it and just dive in and do stuff. So glad to see you guys showing up. Hey, Kat. Hey, John. So you start to train it, and so like Diane was there that day. And so I created her voice. We were like, what is your voice? And you decide, is your voice casual? Is it professional? Is it, is it quirky? Like, what kind of voice do you want? If you're going to write something and help use this ChatGPT to help you write something, how do you want it to come across? Do you want it to come across fun and playful, or do you want it to be serious and stoic? Or what do you want? So Diane gave me all of her qualities, and we had it write some things in her voice. And then you could say, tone it down a little, or use bigger words, or simplify, or whatever you want. And so you can start to train it to write in your voice, and then you start this back and forth. But something also to remember, just like I said about being a filing cabinet. It's also like the needle in a haystack situation, in that it doesn't necessarily remember what you put. So even if you determine the voice that you've wanted to write in, the next day when you say, it's like you created the Diane Rock's voice, and that's a needle, and then you toss that needle back in the haystack, and then the next day you're saying, write this in Diane Rock's voice, not necessarily going to find the needle. But what you can do is you just keep open a Google Doc or something, and or you can also, as you can see on the left there, you can see like you can save your chats. then you can save like where you got to, so you know what it needs in order to recreate your voice. So I'm kind of going a little bit deep into this, but I wanted you to see like how this works so that you can kind of make a decision about if you want to learn more about it, if you want to dive in on your own, what you want to do. And so what we did is we just started giving it prompts about writing coverages. I included a screenplay that's unproduced inside of there, so you can see what an unproduced screenplay looks like. And then we played really pretty deeply with having it try to cover it and what we needed to do to make it work. And so we used prompts to do that. And so then I include like a bunch of different prompts to kind of get you started inside of the course, because that's kind of the key, is learning how to write those prompts. So, and then we critique the critique, like we started to train it, like how to critique things in the way that we want. So I kind of walked through all of that. We talked about passive writing because it was immediately thinking of screenplay writing like a book. And so we're teaching it not to write in passive writing. When you write coverages, they're never in passive writing, very active, just like screenplays. It's not Johnny went to the store, Johnny's going to the store. We're right there with you. It's all happening in real time, right? So we kind of went through and did that. And then we mapped out a screenplay, and we just like, this is really fun. So here's the prompt. So this was Ross, and he was there live, and he said, please tell me a story in one paragraph about a rabbit that takes on the world. And so it came up with this story, right? And then we started, and then we write, can you write as a screenplay? Still only one paragraph. So then we just kind of kept going, and pretty soon it came up with some really cliche kind of silly things. And so we just as a group kept saying, oh, change it to this and change it to that. And then we worked on some dialogue. It was really fun. We had a great time. And so by putting this in a course now, it makes it so that we have a way that you can walk through all of this and make a decision. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's really helpful. And I can see people kind of letting go of some of the fear that they had about it. So we did this live over a couple of days. And so then we came back, and then we talked about how it will work with you and your path. Like, what is your path? So we all have another course that is a breaking in course, how to break into Hollywood. And in that course, we really have you map out your path. So I did kind of a little mini version of that and kind of walked people through, like, here's your path. We have a tool called the Breaking In Blueprint that helps you map out what you want, because then you can kind of feed in, okay, where does the AI part fit into that world, right? And so that you can start to put it all together. We really, I'll teach something about screenplay analysis, and then I talk about you. And then I teach something about screenplay analysis and talk about you, because you are the most important thing about all of it. All the decisions that you make are the things that will make you happy, keep your life content, make you thrive, have the career you want, all of those things. And that's what I'm here for, is to really try to be your cheerleader, your guide, lovingly nudge you when I think you're going down a path that might not serve you, really trying to help you know yourself so that you, and in turn, can, conquer the world with however you want, just like the rabbits in the rabbit tail. I crack myself up on a regular basis. So then we went through like all the other uses you could use for ChatGPT, like how to plan your schedule and how to like plan workouts. And we did a thing on how to get rid of stress and things, so you can start to use ChatGPT for your daily activities to help yourself get organized as well. We had to explain quantum physics, like, just kind of looking at all the ways that we can use it. We had it research Shonda Rhimes, like if you want to go work with Shonda, who wouldn't? So we talked about that, and we kind of looked into all of the things. And again, it's not a search engine, so we'd always have to fact check anything that it gives us, but it gives you an idea of how you might find clients, or what you might do. We had it create some professional guides, like give me ways to, so this one was here, how do you create please list the items I need to create a good background for a Zoom call so that I look and sound like a professional writer. So then it just gave you, here's the things to put in the background, some bookshelves, some books. It's like, and I'm talking in seconds, it does that. So everybody was giving suggestions. I had some of my own that I brought with me, like prepared, these are the things I think will help you. And so we had it kind of help with decision-making. Couple people gave examples about decisions they were trying to make. And so we had it say, give me a pros and cons list of living in here versus living here. So it was like, we just used it, kind of for good, for your whole life, right? And then I gave a list of resources of other AI things. Originally, when I did this, I was going to look at all the things that are out there about AI and writing, but boy, that is changing daily. And I don't want to recommend anything that I haven't actually really used for myself. So I've been using ChatGPT. I understand it. I've been using it. It's like I know what it is. But if I've tried a new app, if I haven't really dug in, I don't want to recommend it to people. So I just said, here's the ones I've found, and here's what how they sell themselves, so that people could kind of look at the ones they thought they might want to use. Because there's a lot of different things out there right now. And so there's also a lot, if you just Google top 10 apps for writing, you can find a lot of articles about people that are going out there and really digging in. That's the beautiful thing about the world right now, is that anything you want to know, someone is researching that very thing. So you can get the top 10 list of the whatever. So it really does make life easier for you. So we kind of walked through that. And then again, talked about all the guys, and then back to you and your career and your path, and how do you create a bio with it, and how do you create your success path, and how do you plan out what you want to do. And then we just did some case studies. We did a crime story, we did a crime drama, we did some dialogue. We just played with it for a while. So I really feel that this is a future-proofing your path, because we kind of came around full circle. We talked about change to start everything off, and then about, okay, now that you've learned a bit about it, now that you've decided, I'm excited by this, I'm put off by that, what would your next steps might be? And so then we talked about, different things that you can do with this skill. But we also talked about, what if you don't want to do this? What if you're like, this is terrible, I don't like it. The idea of using AI, computers freak me out, blah, 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 all of that. Keep in mind that as more things become AI, and as more things become, technical, and as more things become done in that way, the power of human connection is going to become so much more valuable. The power of collaboration with a person is just going to skyrocket. So if you don't want to do this, you can say, as a reader, let's say you want to work with a writer, you can say, you know what? Let's get on the phone and I'll tell you what I think is you need to work on your screenplay, right? You can and someone would really appreciate that. That doesn't want all of the hoopla. They just want to talk. And by double downing and having that be the way you do it, you'll get there's plenty of room for everybody to do this in any way, to cover screenplays, to work with writers, to work with producers. That's one of the beautiful things about change, is it opens up opportunity, and you can form your own path. And that is becoming so obvious and so huge, in that the whole thing, the pandemic led to this, technology has led to this, the great resignation. No longer are people kind of settling for, here's the job, go do this, I'm going to tell you what it is, change it, I'll give you money, you do the thing I tell you to do. More and more people are saying, wait, that's not, I want to do this thing, and I'm going to figure out how to do this thing on my own. And that's what I've always been as a reader. I created my own path with it. So this is a path to that, to be able to create kind of the life and business that you want. Whether there are jobs, you can get jobs as a reader, and it can be that 9 to 5 thing, that for sure, that's a thing. But there's also opportunity, even if you do have that 9 to 5 job. If you tell someone you're a reader, that you read screenplays and analyze them, I guarantee no matter where you go, you tell someone that, they'll know someone that has a screenplay. Like, I've never not had that happen. No matter where I go, someone knows someone that either has read a screenplay, wants a screenplay, like wants in on that world. It's really easy to find people that might work with you. So being able to kind of double down on the way that you want to do it, whether it is that you want to really dive in and you're going to get so good at ChatGPT and you're just going to let it help you write coverages. Now, you never want to cut and paste anything out of ChatGPT and claim it as your own. That's just, it's so bad on so many reasons. It's just a no-go, right? Because it won't be your voice. It's not very ethical. And there's also apps that will tell someone whether or not this was written by a person or written by an app. And so it just won't fly. And you don't want to do that anyway, because you still, again, that human connection, the humanity part of what you bring to it will always be incredibly valuable. And the more we have AI, the more we have computers, the more valuable you become. I really don't see it as people just won't value people anymore. And that's the big fear. Oh no, people are not going to value. They'll value you doing something different than what you were doing before. And so it's about kind of learning where you fit in that bigger world. So I hope this is making sense. Let me know if you have questions. So we do have this course is available right now. It's on our website for $697, but we are just Cyber Mondaying, like introducing the course for you for just $79 so that you can just dive in and figure out if this is something that you want to do. It talks about being a reader too. So if you're in our programs, some of you might have it already, that we have all these different packages with our programs. So check with us if you're not sure. You can always email us questions at team@hollywoodgatekeepers.com. And we're more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. And then I'm going to give you a link for it. It's pretty easy, everything AI. Now I can't put this link in the chat, so I'm going to put it on the screen, but it's basically hollywoodgatekeepers.com/everything AI. I might already have it. Hang on a sec. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to show that for you. So yeah, so that's where you can find this course and where you can find the Cyber Monday, which is a whole week. Monday's every day this week. So we're doing a whole week long of really, letting people in on this course. I really do think I'm really proud of it. I think it does kind of give you that. It's an entry level course, but it dives really deep into how to use it and all the different ways that you can use it and all the different ways you can use it for coverage and all the different things you can do. But it also really, and that is the point of me as a coach and me here with you, is that it helps you determine your path. And that's why I'm here. I want to help you determine your path into the industry, whatever that might be, whether you want to write screenplays, whether you want to read and analyze screenplays for producers, read and analyze screenplays for writers, or whether you want to create your own business in one area of that. We have graduates that do everything. We have graduates that have they specialize in books and helping people turn their books into screenplays. We have people that have a specialty, like we have Emily, who's a scientist. She helps people understand if the science is accurate in their screenplays. There's so many things that you can do with this. So being able to get certified as a reader and learning how to get, read and analyze screenplays, getting that certification so that you know how to do it. And then you can just start planning whatever you want to do. So that's why we create these different courses to help you out. AI, I think, is obviously here to stay. It's going to continue to morph and change pretty rapidly, in my opinion, from what I've seen already. I'm in another mastermind that's a future coach kind of mastermind. And my mentor he's a futurist. He calls himself a futurist. And so I study with him because he's always on the front edge of everything. And he started talking about ChatGPT with us, I want to say in 2017, I think it was, like maybe even I found him in 17. I mean, it was right when I first met him, which was like the end of 16, early 17. So he's really on the front edge of things. So I'm always listening to him and then coming back and applying it to what you can do. So I hope that makes sense for you. Is it possible that AI will and does make a lot easier to write your screenplay? I know of people who hire people to put in the format needed. Like you've written a story and one day you can dictate your story and the program will automatically format it for you. Well, Final Draft already kind of does that. I don't know if there are many apps that do speak to page. So you just speak into it and then it types it out for you. So absolutely. And then Final Draft is a program and there's a couple. Writer's Duet is another one. If anybody else has others, they use Movie Maker is another one. Movie Maker. I use Final Draft, so I'm not sure, but it definitely formats for you so that you don't have to do that. But you also, again, we kind of come back to what you want to do. And that is that, I'm sorry, I can't see your name with, sometimes when we use StreamYard, it says, I see Facebook user. It doesn't tell me who it is. So otherwise I'd be addressing you. But so you can, sometimes it's that human connection and people will hire a person to do it because they want to have a back and forth and talk to them about it, along the way. But with formatting in general, there's lots of tools out there already that have been out for years before ChatGPT, or before this new AI explosion that's been happening recently. There were already tools that you can use to do that for sure. It's you, Kumar. Okay, thank you. So so there are apps that do that. And then Final Draft, you can take and you can just dump it in. And then, you do have to play with it. And that's what people hire people to do. It doesn't just, you have to like click on highlight and say, this is dialogue, excuse me, this is action, that, you have to kind of go through and do it that way. I think there might be some apps that are a little bit easier than that. In my opinion, I kind of like a little bit of the hands-on because it keeps you in touch with making sure it's doing it correctly. That's just me. See what I mean? Like even I have like my control freak. side of me wants to kind of see it happening. So I liked it, but it wouldn't be beyond me to pay someone to do that part of it for me for sure. So you just have to find what you're comfortable with and the level of AI that you want. So, and we show inside the course where you can prompt it and it can help you write a screenplay. But it's more about helping you, in my opinion, helping you get your ideas as opposed for it to write it. And if you do the course, you'll see, and if you do play with it on your own, ChatGPT, and you see on your own, it's not the greatest in coming up with stories, and it doesn't remember what it wrote. So it doesn't come back very well to, adding on to the story. It sometimes goes haywire, which is one of, it's like, for any of you that are in our courses, it's like screenplay stew. Screenplay stew is something we talk about where too much in the screenplay, or squirrel syndrome where it squirrels off. It does all of those things. So it is that thing again of having that human connection, I think, will be helpful. Yeah, you find it too robotic, you don't want to become a robot for sure. And that's why you are the human. It needs you. In order to, think of it as a tool, as like a Google Doc or a, Final Draft, or if you think of it like that, instead of, we keep humanizing it, instead of it being this robot that's this thing that's another, we almost make it a person. It's not that. It's just a database. It's just a tool. And so to stop humanizing us as writers, we can't help ourselves. We humanize everything. That's why we can, write a story about an animated toothpick, because that's what we do. We humanize things. But by humanizing this and then letting it cause fear, all you're doing is stopping yourself. So by just relaxing, using it if you want to, not using it if you don't want to, but also thinking of how can I use it that will inspire me, that will help me really learn my own voice, that will help me blossom. Yeah, it's software and hardware. Yeah, exactly, John. So it is like software and hardware. I love it. So it is like, these are the tools that we can use, and we can decide how we want to use them. So I hope that's helpful. I try to keep these sessions just to half an hour, a half an hour or less, because it's just about me popping in each week, talking about a topic, kind of letting you know what's happening in our world, because we always have something happening. So right now it's the Cyber Week, and you can get into that course for $79 if you want to do that. I will be back next week for a new topic. Just check your email. Every week we tell you what the topic is, or if you're in the Facebook group or you're on the YouTube channel, we also post it there. So yeah, keep joining us. It's so lovely to see you. Thanks for being here. Hello to all of our students that are already in our program. So nice to see you. I will see you in our next Insider Track if you're in there. If not, I will see you same bat channel here next week. All right, you guys. Yeah, for sure. Have a beautiful day. Thanks.